Hey Spirit Spy people, welcome back to my channel, welcome to my channel. I hope you and your family are healthy and doing well at this time. This is just a quick step-by-step of the making of the Newlook 6000 retro style shift dress. I've made this dress before and I like the fit so much I wanted to do it again. This time with the pleated waist detail, and I added some cuffs to the sleeve. I also went out of my comfort zone with this project and used some knit fabric, stretchy fabric that I found in my stash. I'm really not sure what the fabric is. I didn't keep the label, but it feels soft and has some weight to it. I think I originally wanted to use it to make a suit. However, I'm going to add a touch of Imani with this African print fabric on the cuffs. So once the pattern pieces were cut, the first thing to tackle were the pleats on the waist of the front piece. I must admit it took me a few minutes to work out from the instructions how to fold them and where to sew, but eventually I concluded that folding it the wrong side and sewing along the line was how to do it. I used contrasting thread to baste along my sewing line to make this a little bit easier, and then I removed them when I was done. And this was the final result, which I was really pleased with. And then sew some basting stitches over the pleats. Next, you want to stay stitch the neck edge of the back pieces and stitch the back darts, and do that for both. We're going to complete the back vent by placing the two back pieces right sides together. Go ahead and overlock or finish the edge of the vent, and you should have a notch in this area, and you want to stitch a normal stitch from this notch down to the large dot, which you should also have marked, and then from that dot carry on stitching with a basting stitch till you get to the hem. Then reinforce that corner of the vent by stitching about an inch above the dot, then down to the dot, pivot, and carry on stitching all the way across to the end of the vent. But before you do that, make sure that you have folded in along the long edge of the vent about 1 centimeter, so that you'll be stitching over those layers. Now snip into the corner of the vent, making sure you stop before you get to the stitching, and then when you open up the seams, press them open. Then pin the vent to the right and secure it down, and how you do that is by stitching on the right side of the fabric along where you can see the pin. You can then go ahead and undo the basting stitches of the vent. Next, I installed the zip. I didn't have a brown one available, so I just used this white one. It was fine for me. With the zip done, you can now sew the shoulder seams of your front and back pieces together, and then insert the sleeve. Now I used a different method than I usually do. This time I decided to sew the sleeve flat rather than the normal way of making up the sleeve first, sewing up your front and back pieces and inserting through the sleeve hole. I tried this method and I actually found it a lot easier. I don't know whether it's because it was knit, but I just found it to be a much easier method, which I shall continue to use from now on. Once the sleeve is done, then I stitch the side seam together. And now to the star of the show, which is the collar. And you should have your left collar and right collar pieces. And we'll start with the left collar, which you just simply fold right sides together and stitch both ends. Trim the ends and then turn right side out. go ahead and then baste the raw edge of the collar. Clip the neck edge and then place the collar matching the notches at the center front. Sew that in place, and you just simply do the same thing with the right collar. To complete the collar, you now just need to attach the neck facing, so put all the back pieces and the front piece together at the seams. Once that's stitched together, place the facing on the right side, matching the seams with the shoulder seams. And that's it, collar's done. You can at this point put a button in between the two collar pieces, which I did on the last one I made, but decided not to bother with this one. Now to attach the cuff, I just wanted to add a little bit of colour, a little bit of me to the dress. So I'm just using some remnants of African print fabric that I found, and I think it just added a little bit more to the dress. So you have to apply some interfacing to the cuff first. I was very pleased that day because my rotary cutter had just come in. First time using one, and I see why people prefer them. So with interfacing applied, fold the cuff right sides together and stitch both the edges. Attach the cuff to the opening of the sleeve, the wrong side, matching your notches. And once you've stitched that at the seam, turn the sleeve right side out and then fold the cuff up. And then to keep the cuff in place, place 2 buttons on either side of the cuff. And that's it, your dress is done. Just finish off the hem and you are complete. And I was very pleased with the finished result. Even though I used woven fabric in the last project, I used the same measurements to make this dress. The fit was just as good. It's simple but flattering. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for you. If you're thinking of trying this pattern, I would definitely recommend it to you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep taking those spirit inspired actions and do it in style.